Hare Krishna. Welcome to our channel, Bhagavad-gita, here it is. Because we have Bhagavad-gita as it is, translation and commentary by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. And my name is Labanga Latika. We are in the 10th chapter, and today we wanted to read... we didn't whimsically want to read text 8, because we actually read all the verses up to text 8. But still, these are 4 very specific verses. They are known as the Chatushloki, the 4 most important verses in the Bhagavad-gita. So I'm very happy that we have gotten this far, so we can share those verses with you. If I can only find it. Here we are. I'm reading the Sanskrit. Ahang sarvasya prabhavo matta sarvang pravartate iti matva bhajante mang buddha bhava samanvitaha. This is also in case you are that type of student who likes to learn verses by heart. This is one of them. Krishna speaking. I am the source of all spiritual and material worlds. Everything emanates from me. The wise who perfectly know this engage in my devotional service and worship me with all their hearts. So this is reality. This is the spiritual reality. Just like in this world, whatever we want to do, we cannot ignore the fact that we need oxygen in our lungs, or that we need to sleep every once in a while, or that we need to fill up our body with nutrients. These are things that have to be there, and whatever else is there, we can change to some extent. We can make different choices. So, knowing Krishna as the basis and origin of everything, that is the basis for everything that is real. Because otherwise, neglecting this fact of Krishna means we are by necessity in a form of illusion. And that illusion can go in different directions, and it can work in different ways. But here we come back to the basis for everything. I'm reading the purport by Srila Prabhupada. A learned scholar who has studied the Vedas perfectly and has information from authorities like Lord Chaitanya, and who knows how to apply these teachings, can understand that Krishna is the origin of everything in both the material and spiritual worlds. And because he knows this perfectly, he becomes firmly fixed in the devotional service of the Supreme Lord. He can never be deviated by any amount of nonsensical commentaries or by fools. All Vedic literatures agree that Krishna is the source of Brahma, Shiva and other demigods. In the Atharva Veda, Gopalatapane Upanishad, it is said, Yo Brahmanang vidadhati purvang yo vai vedangscha gapayati sma. Krishna. It was Krishna who in the beginning instructed Brahma in Vedic knowledge, and who disseminated Vedic knowledge in the past. Then again, the Narayana Upanishad says, Atha purusho have narayano kamayata prajasrijayeti. Then the Supreme Personality, Narayan, decided to create living entities. The Upanishad continues, Narayanad Brahma Jayate, Narayanad Prajapati Prajayate, Narayanad Indro Jayate, Narayanad Astau Vasavo Jayante. Narayanad Ekadasha Rudra Jayante, Narayanad Dvadasha Dityaha. From Narayan, Brahma is born, and from Narayan, the patriarchs are also born. From Narayan, Indra is born, and from Narayan, the 8 Vasus are born. From Narayan, the 11 Rudras are born. From Narayan, the 12 Adityas are born. This Narayan is an expansion of Krishna. So that's the source of knowledge. The Vedas are the source of knowledge. And in previous ages and previous cultures, this was an established fact. The Vedas are there, and the Vedas give us knowledge. So we can have different opinion. We can have discussions and arguments and different schools of thoughts. But it used to be that all those schools of thoughts agreed that the Vedas are the basis for knowledge, that the Vedas are the final authority. Nowadays, of course, we haven't come to that point yet in large parts of the world, and even in the parts where the Vedas are known, not everybody accepts them. But when we start to read the Bhagavatam, also when we start to read Chaitanya Charitamrita, which is the book that describes the life of Lord Chaitanya, who was mentioned here, and in Krishna himself actually appearing on this planet 500 years ago, then it starts with establishing the truth based on the Vedas. So we do that here in the Bhagavad-gita also. It's not that just Krishna is a little bit full of himself and says, okay, I am everything. And Arjuna, because he's his friend and likes him very much, he will agree to keep him happy. No. This is always there. It's from the origin, from the Vedas. Of course, now, those of us who don't come from the Vedic background, who haven't been, brought into the understanding that the Vedas are the basis for all knowledge, we will also comment based on logic, observation, and so on, which will only get us so far. But actually at one point, an honest philosopher is supposed to come to that point of accepting the Vedas, and therefore point to the Vedas as stating something very clearly. Then naturally everyone will agree with that. So we don't jump over that, because when we start to take up this culture, we become first somehow attracted to some aspect. But whatever aspect we originally come from, when we come to a certain point, we will accept Krishna and we will accept the Vedas. So here we will see the statements from the Vedas pointing out that no, Krishna is not just some ordinary person, maybe a little more beautiful, a little more powerful, a little more learned. He's actually the supreme Brahman, the supreme source of everything. Ahang sarvasya prabhavo. I am the source of all the generations. Matas sarvang pravartante. From me, everything emanates. So that is what Krishna is saying. And the more we understand this, the more it makes sense. Because this world goes from being a random collection of impressions on our senses, a random collection of different persons in different areas of the world, having different ideas, not agreeing on very much, trying their best to be happy in this world, and ultimately failing miserable because we all die. Then when we understand the world, because this is actually interesting. Okay, that's not how you do the presentation. You don't tell, you show. But I have to admit that I find it interesting that it's possible to come to an understanding of the truth that lasts, that isn't just here and now. We will agree, well, most of us will agree, that democracy is a better way of living than living in a dictatorship. Some things we agree on with health. It's interesting, you watch it and it changes. What is spoken now as a good idea for staying healthy, and previously it was something else, and it doesn't matter how healthy we are, we will die. Economy, how to set up the life, now there's one understanding, previous there was a different understanding, previous there was still another understanding, and ultimately it doesn't matter how well you take care of your income and your savings and your economy, you die. But there's actually, for this word, and that's actually what I wanted to say, that often nowadays religions get pushback from people saying, well, if there is a God, why isn't it better? If there is a powerful, almighty God, why hasn't it made the world better? And that is because we don't understand the world. We don't understand God. There is a world that is better. And we're actually in one corner of that world where we have kind of hidden ourselves away from Krishna. And Krishna, he knows that. It's just like the children, they are trying to, play in the garden and do something like picking the apples or something. And the grown-ups think, yes, we can afford a couple of apples. The children, they can play independent, picking their own apples or having their own corner of the garden. But when they get hungry for real, then they will come home to the dinner table. So Krishna also, he has given us this material world, and it looks And Krishna also describes this as Dukhalayama Shashvadam. It doesn't look perfect because it's temporary and it's full of miserable, but it's perfect for its purpose. It's the place for us to go when our desires drive us out of the spiritual world, because we are not in harmony with that atmosphere. And then Krishna doesn't exactly punish us or force us into something we don't want to be. He respects our desires. He sets up this little corner of existence called the material world, where we are covered by this Maya. Maya covers us over and pulls us down. And then here we can still exist, because the soul is eternal. We will not really die, but we can test out one scenario after another. It's a kind of a virtual existence. What if Krishna wouldn't be God? What if I would be the center? I would be the hero of my own movie. And we have that perspective in this world, and we try to grab things for ourselves. We're very different, because each lifetime we're testing another body, another set of senses. So it's not that Krishna has failed in making this material world. He's made a world where we can try to exist in an atmosphere that's incompatible to us, and it is governed by natural laws like the law of karma and so on. So whatever we do, it comes back to us. But in a way, we don't remember our previous lives, but the impacts they have on us, they come with us. Like some people are born with a unnatural fear of water or fire, and most likely they had sufferings in connection with water or fire in their previous lives, and somehow they don't bring the memory, but they bring the lesson. So eventually in this world, the lesson will follow us from life to life, that this world is actually incompatible with us. We will start to look for something else. And depending on our previous desires and activities and consciousness, we will take birth in different types of civilization, or even outside of civilization, in the animal and plant segments of population as well. There are different planets in the universe. There are different universes. There is such a scope for gaining experience. So that's what we're doing. We're gaining experience, but we're also gaining the result of our own activities, and we are trying out our desires one life after another. So Krishna is facilitating that, but in a way that is separate from the spiritual world. And in a way, it's not because God is being mean that we suffer. It is because the material world is incompatible with our spiritual nature. So Prabhupada often uses the expression, we should make the best use of a bad bargain. We're in this material world, within this material body, but we are human beings now, and we can start to turn back to Krishna, to turn back to reality. Back to reality. We can do that. But the very core of that reality is Krishna. Krishna is the origin of everything, and is the center of everything, because that is a fact. And we have a relationship to him, and it's a two-way relationship. We love Krishna, and Krishna loves us. And then when we are not into it, Krishna is not making any force. He's giving us this material world. So the problem with this world is not that it has failed. The problem with this world is that we have chosen to go here in the first place. But for its purpose, it is actually perfect. Even on a day-to-day basis, we may not experience that perfection because we're looking for something else. It's like a fish trying to be happy on land, and all its friends will tell it, okay, this land is all very glamorous and attractive, but actually we can't breathe there. And the fish is saying, no, I'm doing fine. So that's kind of our situation in this material world. So we get the Bhagavad-gita, we get Krishna's words, and here Prabhupada in the purport is establishing these things based on the Vedas, because all civilized persons will accept the Vedas as the ultimate authority. And maybe we are not there now. It doesn't mean Prabhupada is not dumbing down the message. He doesn't ever do that. He will make it accessible to us. He will explain it in such a way that even without having the background of the Vedic culture and these traditions and this training, we are able to understand something about Krishna, and we are able to apply this knowledge in our lives. But still, he's not making the abridged version. He's giving the knowledge that is available, and then gradually we can understand it more and more. It is said in the same Vedas, Brahmanyo Devaki Putra, the son of Devaki, Krishna, is the Supreme Personality, Narayana Upanishad. Then it is said, Eko vai Narayana asin na Brahmaneshano napo nagni soma nene dyav aprithvi na nakshatrani na suryaha. In the beginning of the creation, there was only the Supreme Personality, Narayana. There was no Brahma, no Shiva, no water, no fire, no moon, no heaven and earth, no stars in the sky, and no sun. That's from the Maha-Upanishad. In the Maha-Upanishad, it is also said that Lord Shiva was born from the forehead of the Supreme Lord. Thus the Vedas say that it is the Supreme Lord, the creator of Brahma and Shiva, who is to be worshipped. In the Moksha Dharma section of the Mahabharata, Krishna also says, Prajapating cha rudrang chapyaham eva srijami vai, tau hi mang na vijanito mama maya vimohitao. The patriarchs Shiva and others are created by me, though they do not know that they are created by me, because they are deluded by my illusory energy. So that's kind of how it works here. We want to aim for self-realization, but the very fact that we are aiming for self-realization means we don't start out in a self-realized stage. We start out identifying this body. Anybody who's seen a newborn child, how bewildered they are. What am I doing here? Maybe not all of them, but I've really seen that expression when they are very new. Like, what am I doing here? What is this? And then after a few weeks, very quickly, they get accustomed to being surrounded by loving relatives who are saying, no, you are a little baby, a very cute little baby, and we love you very much because we are your family. And then the child adopts that message and that identification, and then grows up from that point on, fully identified with his body. But from different sources, like we can take the knowledge from the Vedas, we can take our own vague sense of discomfort in the universe. From different angles we come to the point where we want to understand who we are. Who am I? Where do I come from? What is the meaning of life? Is there a God? And if so, can I know more about him? And that's what we are doing now. In the Varaha Purana it is also said, Narayana paro devas tasmad jatas chaturmukha tasmad rudro bhavad deva sacha sarva gyatang gataha. Narayana is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and from him Brahma was born, from whom Shiva was born. Lord Krishna is the source of all generations, and he is called the most efficient cause of everything. He says, because everything is born of me, I am the original source of all. Everything is under me, no one is above me. There is no supreme controller other than Krishna. One who understands Krishna in such a way from a bona fide spiritual master, with references from the Vedic literature, engages all his energy in Krishna consciousness and becomes a truly learned man. In comparison to him, all others who do not know Krishna properly are but fools. Only a fool would consider Krishna to be an ordinary man. A Krishna-conscious person should not be bewildered by fools. He should avoid all unauthorized commentaries and interpretation on Bhagavad-gita and proceed in Krishna consciousness with determination and firmness. So yes, these are the recommendations. When we have come to the point that we have decided, I am now in this human form of life, I am going to be very serious with this one project. I want to know who I am. And coming a little bit on the way, we understand that who I am is intimately connected with who is Krishna, who is God. So who am I in connection to Krishna? And who is Krishna that I can learn to connect to him, love him and serve him? That is the main purpose of the human form of life. And if we're not ready to make that dedication yet, then just please continue to study the Bhagavad-gita. Please try to apply the process of Bhakti Yoga, and especially the meditation on Krishna's holy name, and we will come there. So Krishna is not judgmental. He's not saying, unless you're 100% perfect, I will reject you and throw you away. No. This material world is not how to say, it's not a garbage pile, it's the recycling station. Krishna definitely is very happy to bring us back, but it's kind of up to us to make that decision, to grow that desire, because ultimately our desire is what will guide our direction in every step. So, yes. I love these verses. It's sometimes a little difficult to speak because I don't really know who is listening. So if there's anything that I'm being too, how to say, simple in my explanation and you want to hear more, ask some question. Or if this is too disconnected from whatever understanding you have, then please ask some questions. There's rooms for all the questions. But this is Krishna speaking after we have gone through the 9 chapters. Krishna is coming out and saying, I am the source of all spiritual and material worlds. Everything emanates from me. The wise who perfectly know this engage in my devotional service and worship me with all their hearts. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you for watching. We aim for updates every Tuesday and Friday. Please come back. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them down there. We also have some links and information for you. And there is, of course, the subscribe button. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
I'm a Hare Krishna, and I approve this message. Subscribe.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna,